Hello and welcome back to No Bullshit. Breaking news about the Jussie Smollett case came out today. Actually, just yesterday. The disgraced actor who allegedly staged a hate crime against himself in January, well, it looks like the corrupt judicial system in Chicago is trying to let Jussie off the hook. On Tuesday, the Cook County State Attorney's Office dropped all charges against Jussie Smollett for not only faking this hate crime to race bait and try and make Trump supporters look bad and racist, but also, Jussie wasted the precious time and money of the local police force, all to investigate this fake hate crime he set up with two Nigerian men who he had worked for previously on his show Empire on Fox. For more details on this stunning development, which shows just how corrupt Chicago and the liberals truly are, and also it shows how privileged these rich Hollywood liberals are. Well, for more info on this story, let's turn to an article from the Chicago Tribune, a local paper. The story's called "After Charges Dropped, Empire actor Jussie Smollett says he has been truthful and consistent from day one." And well, right out the gate, no, you haven't been truthful at all, Jussie. You have lied, and that's easily provable. You said it was two white Trump supporters who attacked you after all, when really it was two black men who were friends of yours, and you were doing it all for publicity. Regardless, let's go ahead and see what they have to say here. In a stunning reversal, Cook County prosecutors on Tuesday dropped all charges against Empire actor Jussie Smollett for allegedly staging a phony attack and claiming he was the victim of a hate crime. Why the state's attorney's office made the sudden about face wasn't immediately clear. Probably corruption and liberal bullshit. The office issued only a one-sentence statement. After reviewing all the facts and circumstances of the case, including Mr. Smollett's volunteer service in the community and agreement to forfeit his bond to the city of Chicago, we believe this outcome is a just disposition and appropriate resolution to this case, the statement said. Before departing the courthouse, Smollett thanked his attorneys, family, friends in Chicago for supporting him through what he called an incredibly difficult time for me. He also thanked the state of Illinois for attempting to do what's right. "I have been truthful and consistent from day one," Smollett, his hands shaking as he reads from notes, told reporters in the lobby of the Leeton Criminal Court building. Sounds like the liberals might be getting payback for that Mueller thing going south when it went belly up this weekend, but that's besides the point. For now, let's read between the lines here in this story and break things down. First of all, this is just a dismissal of the state's case against Jussie. He still has a federal investigation pointed at him that could still bring him more fines or even jail time. But Chicago and the state of Illinois decide to let Jussie off, but not for nothing. They consider the fact that he already did a lot of community service, and he agreed to forfeit his bond, $10,000 that he paid to the state, which they will now keep. And while that money may seem like a lot to you or me, but 10 G's really isn't that much considering all the bullshit this stunt stirred up. That won't even cover half a day of the police's time that he wasted, let alone the weeks and weeks of investigations he spurred. Regardless, Illinois is dismissing this case because Smollett already did community service and paid a fine, which would likely be the result if he was tried and convicted of this anyway. So they just decided to skip the trial. So they're not totally letting him off the hook then, but it is still just a slap on the wrist. And it's also very weird for someone who's innocent to be giving up what they paid for on their bond. If Jussie was really not guilty, he would have got all his money back, but he's not innocent, so he decided to give the money up. With that said, in a way, you could see this as a bit of an admission of guilt. He did do these crimes. We all know it, and we've seen the evidence too. So instead of going through with this whole trial and the whole circus that would surround it, Jussie opted to just pay them off instead and move on in a quicker and less painful way. Good for him for getting a sweet deal here, but really, he doesn't deserve one at all. This guy lied and race baited and tried to make his conservative opponents like us look like racists when we're really not. And to make things even worse, Jussie did all of this to get attention so he could make more money on his stupid Empire TV show. And then to top things off, Jussie even had the balls to pretend this vindicates him fully, even saying he's been truthful and consistent since day one. No, you haven't, Jussie. The only thing you've been consistent about is the fact that you will lie over and over again. Smollett's attorney, Patricia Brown Holmes, said the defense reached no deal with prosecutors. Smollett agreed to forfeit his $100,000 bond so he could go on with his life and get this over with, she said. Smollett had to post 10% of that, or $10,000. Ordinarily, that money would be returned to him or his attorneys. For unclear reasons, Judge Stephen Watkins ordered the public court file sealed. This is pretty much unprecedented too, guys. There's hardly ever any cases where someone is dismissed, but also the state keeps the fine, let alone having that case sealed so no one else could read about it. So, if you see it my way, this is where things get really fishy. Sure, court cases get sealed all the time, but them doing it here just seems like a cover-up. I think Jussie has some embarrassing information in this report, which the state is trying to hide because this wasn't really a dismissal of someone that's innocent. This was a guilty person getting let off easy because he's rich, gay, black, and liberal, and also well-connected. And to think Jussie is the same kind of liberal who would hate on white people, saying we have supposed white privilege. Shit, white privilege ain't a thing. If anything, it's rich Hollywood liberal liberal privilege. That's what we need to worry about in America. Think about it. Hillary Clinton got off with little to no punishment too, despite her deliberately breaking government rules and destroying evidence and government property with her deleted emails. Trump, on the other hand, a conservative, well, he was rigorously investigated for a crime he didn't commit for over 2 years. And they almost would have convicted him over nothing too, if they could have. And now another liberal SJW is getting off, almost scot-free, Jussie Smollett, which really shouldn't be too surprising, I guess, since Chicago, Illinois is heavily liberal and majorly corrupt. Next, let's check out a video from CBS News, so we can hear more about this bizarre development with the Smollett case. This clip starts off with the former prosecutor calling into the show to give his thoughts on this case. His name is Vino Varghese. Let's go ahead and see what he has to say.
It just sort of boggles the mind. I mean, in the statement to the media and to the public, Jussie Smollett's lawyers say this entire situation is a reminder that there should never be an attempt to prove a case in the court of public opinion. But this wasn't trying to be proved in a court of public opinion. It was going to be proved in a court of law.
Well, it was, until the corrupt liberal politicians got a hold of this. Really, Jussie's camp is projecting here because they're the ones trying to sway public opinion on this. From the beginning, actually. When this all started, Jussie sent himself fake hate letters and even hired people to beat him up. That way he could sway public opinion against conservatives and Trump, and also in his favor, by gaining sympathy. And now after Jussie was caught and the public opinion turned against him, well, now he's complaining about the public opinion, ironically enough. And to top things off, the whole reason they took this deal and sealed the case was to sway public opinion once again, trying to get things back in Jussie's favor. I doubt this will really work in the long run, but other liberals are starting to side with Jussie again. For example, CNN's Brian Stelter even said this in response to the charges being dropped. Cool, were you there that night? Smollett's camp says he was the victim of a hate crime. The police dispute that. There isn't video of the alleged attack. Thus, we may never know what really happened. If you say so, Brian. I think we all know what really happened that night though. We've seen proof of it come from the Nigerians, the ones who attacked him, who were clearly not white Trump supporters. We've also seen a check that Smollett wrote to those Nigerians. And of course, the police were quite surprised when they arrived at Jussie's house that night, seeing that he was still wearing a fake noose around his neck to be dramatic. And there's more here too, so needless to say, we know a lot about what happened that night. But now that Jussie's liberal and SJW cohorts see an out here, hack journalists like Brian Stelter are seeing that and they're happy to find a way to go along with this, once again. But back to more of that video now though, to see what else is up.
Criticizing this man and having him surrender, having his reputation completely destroyed, to now dropping the case in a matter of 2 months, in less than 2 months, it's embarrassing. And you've got to wonder, again, what are they doing over there?
It's very embarrassing indeed. This is a bad look for Chicago, the justice system, and it's a bad look for liberals in America too, honestly. This gross display of injustice, whether it was done through bribes or political influence, well, it makes the left look like corrupt cheaters once again, like how Hillary cheated in the primaries. And nowadays, the liberals aren't even trying to hide their cheating or their biases, nor are they even trying to pretend that they don't play by different rules than the rest of us. One other disturbing thing about this case is the state attorney who dropped it for Jussie. Here's a tweet with a picture of her named Kim Fox, and she's looking real chummy with this Democratic politician and presidential candidate Kamala Harris. Kamala is of course also known to be a friend and supporter of Jussie Smollett and a liberal progressive, and she has defended Smollett publicly since the beginning of this too, so it's really no surprise that her friend, state attorney Kim Fox, dropped this case for him. Fox even tried to recuse herself from this case because she was too familiar with the people involved. Recuse is where judges or lawyers have to step out of a case because they're too connected to the people involved. But then, after trying to recuse herself, Fox went back to trying the case, and she was even the one who ended up dismissing it. Very interesting. Looks like we got more corruption of the highest order here, and this scandal's not going to stop anytime soon. TMZ is even reporting that Jussie's allies called Kim Fox to intervene here. Apparently, leaked texts and emails are coming out now, really exposing the shady shit going on here. The article says, texts and emails between state attorney Kim Fox and 2 Jussie allies, one of which is reported to be a family member of his, have been leaked, and they show that Fox was asked to intervene in the case a few days after he'd reported the alleged attack to Chicago PD. It appears that she did exactly that and kept Jussie's camp in the loop. Wow, just wow. And as if this couldn't get any worse, things do for Chicago and its police department. According to plugged-in sources found by Guy Benson on Twitter, well, the Chicago Police Department is livid over this recent decision to dismiss Jussie's case. And I guess we should be expecting even more leaks like what we saw from TMZ earlier, because since the courts won't try this case fairly, the people will have to take matters into their own hands here, and hopefully they can leak enough information publicly to try and give Jussie his just desserts. Lastly, before we go, the mayor of Chicago has decided to chime in on this development today too. Here's Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel condemning this gross display of injustice surrounding Jussie Smollett.
This is without a doubt a whitewash of justice and sends a clear message that if you're in a position of influence and power, you'll get treated one way, other people will be treated another way. There is no accountability then in the system. It is wrong, full stop.
Those are some pretty strong words from the mayor there. And well, he's exactly right too. This is a whitewashing of justice, and it deserves to be condemned by everyone, whether you're a Republican or a liberal. In the end, Jussie Smollett has not only shown that the justice system in America is corrupt and perverted, especially in Chicago, but also, on the bright side here, Jussie has kind of demolished the idea of white privilege. Imagine if a white guy faked a hate crime saying 2 blacks beat him up in order to try and make liberals look bad in America. Do you think that white guy would get away with it like how Jussie has? No way. And Jussie even has the balls to go out and pretend he was honest and innocent this whole time. What a joke. What a spoiled, brazen, manipulative little brat he is. What do you guys think? Will Jussie Smollett get away with all of this in the end? Will the federal case still have a chance of finding him guilty and giving him some deserved punishment? And can you guys believe that his TV show Empire is celebrating this as a win? Their actor cheated the system and they're saying that that's a win for them on Twitter. And I swear, I'm having flashbacks now to the O.J. Simpson case from the 1990s here. You know, that murder trial from the mid-90s where black people basically let OJ get away with a double murder because they were so biased and tribalistic because he was black. That resulted in them wanting OJ Simpson to be found not guilty, even though he was so obviously guilty of that crime. And well, the same kind of thing is happening with Jussie Smollett now. Sure, it was obviously a lesser crime than murder, but the intent was still noteworthy for being such a sinister way to race bait in the United States. Comment your thoughts on everything below, and thanks for watching No Bullshit. Hit that like button if you enjoyed this video, and we'll see y'all next time.